The Other Side Media Group and 91X now present The Other Side Radio Show, a program about people who make a difference from all walks of life in Quinte and beyond. And now here are your hosts, Jeremy and Joshua Davis.
Hi, and welcome again to an Other Side Remembrance Week special. Well, today on the show, we pay tribute to all those who fought for our freedoms that we enjoy today, with special words and music and special guests. So stay tuned. And now we're joined with a real special guest, someone I know really well and look up to greatly, my father, Gordon C. Davis, and he's going to share a very, very special poem by one of our relatives way back, lest we forget.
Thank you, Jeremy. And this poem is entitled Over the Parapet. It was penned by my great-great-uncle, Private Alex Conley, just prior to his death in September the 2nd, 1918, in France. He was part of the 50th Battalion of the Canadian Infantry British Expeditionary Force. And this is a doozy. Here goes. Over the parapet. Over the parapet, leading his men, blithe was the heart of the officer then. Challenged death, accepting the odds, leaving his luck in care of the gods. Calling his men, leading the way, over the parapet, into the fray, waving appointments and everything red, shaping his choice in the trenches instead. Youth is for action, not strutting the beat, taking salutes from men in the street. Never in his heart was the will to forego, over the parapet, charging the foe. Ponder his bravery, measure who can the mirth and beauty of men. Young was the morn, fair as the rose, with all its rich promise of bloom to disclose. Flinging all else, save himself away. Over the parapet, happen what may. Twice he was wounded, the third time he fell, slain by the blast of a murderous shell. Death borne him hence in the hour of his fame, gone from the men who cherish his name, gone with the honors pinned to his breast, over the parapet, out to the west. So be it over for those who remain, little accounting the losses or gain, faithful in death to the country they love, the great common good and the good God above. Over the parapet, chance what befall, only this way comes honor for us all, lest we forget.
What does this time mean to you, Dad, for the people out there, and why should we remember?
Remembrance Day has been something in my heart since I was a kid, standing in the parades or being in the parades with air cadets or the scouts or cubs. I was never in the military, but my father was. He fought in the Second World War. My uncle Harry, my wife's grandfather, my grandfather in both wars. So many of them gave their lives and caused conflict with themselves to bring us freedom that everyone seems to overlook these days. I just hope we never forget And remember to wear a poppy this November 11th for the week at least, if you can. Just to remember, peace comes at a terrible price.
Thank you, Dad. We'll have you back. Well, up next on our show, we welcome back Dre, and she's here with a very special song to the soldiers and a message. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss this.
This song is going out to thank anyone who has been in service for our country, past or present. We just thank you so much for your sacrifice. We know how much it cost you. We also know how much it cost the families that you left behind. And for those that are living, we thank you for all the birthdays and the Christmases that you missed and all the time and sacrifice that you made for us so that we could have the life that we have now. And anyway, the song is going out to you. We can't thank you enough. Halfway around the world tonight, in a strange and foreign land, a soldier packs his memories as he leaves Afghanistan. Back home they don't know too much, there's just no way to tell. Guess you had to be there for to know the war was hell. And there won't be any victory parades for those that's coming back. They'll fly the men at midnight and unload the body sacks. And the levee will be walking down a long and lonely road. 'Cause nobody seems to care these days when a soldier makes it home. They'll say it wasn't easy, just another job well done. As the government in Kabul falls to the sound of rebel guns and the faces of the comrades being blown out of the sky, leaves you with bitter feeling that they didn't have to die. And there won't be any victory parades for those that's coming back. They'll fly them in at midnight and unload the body sacks. And the levee will be walking down a long and lonely road. 'Cause nobody seems to care these days when a soldier makes it home. Halfway around the world tonight, in a strange and foreign land, a soldier unpacks memories that he saved from Vietnam. Back home they don't know too much, there was just no way to tell. Guess you had to be there for to know what was hell. And there wasn't any big parades for those that made it back. They flew them in at midnight and unloaded all the sacks. And the living were left walking down a long and lonely road. 'Cause nobody seemed to care back then when a soldier makes it home. The night is coming quickly, stars are on their way. As I stare into the evening, looking for the words to say, that I saw the lonely soldier, just a boy that's far from home. I saw that I was just like him, while upon this earth I roam. And there may not be any big parades if he ever makes it back. So coming under the cover through a world that can't keep track of the heroes who have fallen, let alone the ones that don't. Which is why nobody seems to care when a soldier makes it home. Thank you.
And now joining us, we have a real special honor. Our dear mother is here to talk to us today about Remembrance Day and what it means to her.
So every year, November the 11th, when it comes, I'm reminded that our freedom came at a great cost. We can't forget those courageous men and women who fought and gave of themselves for us. Many of them gave the ultimate sacrifice and didn't return home. I remember growing up and going to school. We had school assemblies. We had the parades down to the cenotaph. And these soldiers were our heroes. As our society and culture has evolved, the significance of this day seems to have sort of been forgotten from our minds of many of the younger generation. We still have to take the 2 minutes of silence and realize the importance of what it means, and what we are standing and being silent for, and what the poppy really means. As a child, I can remember stories that my grandfather told. He was in both wars. He didn't tell a lot about it, but I always respected him and knew that he had fought for us to have freedom to live in this beautiful country we live in. In 2012, we can't forget that there were many other soldiers that went to war in Iraq, Afghanistan, and we have to praise them too for their heroism, because many of them came back wounded and some never returned home. So I urge everyone this Remembrance Day to open your hearts and your minds to all of the soldiers that have fought and gave us a great country to call home. Canada is a nation with freedom for all of us to enjoy. Even though the majority of our older veterans are now gone, we must continue to mark November the 11th as part of our heritage and history, the soldiers of our great wars, and we must remember them and wear our poppy proud. Let us teach our next generation to carry on this tradition where we leave off. In closing, I would like to include a poem, and it was written by an uncle, Private Alex Conley of the 50th Canadian Infantry. These verses are very, very unique because they seem to be a poetic forecast of his own death. Okay, it's called Where Poppies Wave. 'Twas a busy day in Flanders. The sun shone overhead. There was a soldier's graveyard, and a gallant lad was dead. He lies upon a gun carriage. His mates stand all in line. The chaplain and the bearers are ready, and the traffic stops at a sign. There's a rider with dispatches. Some lower an ambulance car. There are wagons of all descriptions, and officers motor far. Now the last prayers are offered, the wagons start again. We leave our silent comrade, who heeds not sun or rain. Both Alex and his brother unfortunately died in service in World War I. May God bless the world around us today, all our soldiers and veterans, and remember on this Remembrance Day and throughout the future to come. They fought and gave us the country that we live in now. So have your moment of silence and wear your poppy proud.
Thank you, Mom and Dad, and everyone. And I'm just reminded, like Josh so often says, life is a gift. We must live it, love it, and be proud of it. For life is what we make it. The gift is ours, and it's all up to you. So let's heed those words and live each day to the fullest. And God bless our veterans. We love you and thank you. We will never forget you or anyone in the service. Well, it gives Josh and I great pleasure to welcome Kingston area musician Tom Ward to our program. He's got a very special tribute song to all our veterans for this Remembrance Day, so stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Tom Ward, a singer-songwriter from Kingston, Ontario. I wrote this song, Lest We Forget Remembrance Day, when my daughter was young and I was accompanying her to so many legions through Eastern Ontario while she competed through the levels for the public speaking contests that the Royal Canadian Legion sponsored year after year. I spent a lot of time reviewing and contemplating the many artifacts, stories, and photos of the brave soldiers, men and women, who fought for, and too many of whom gave their lives for the freedoms that we enjoy today. The memories touched me and stuck with me with equal amounts of sadness and pride in our armed forces, and it resulted in this song, which I wrote and recorded at Summit Sound in Westport. I took the opportunity to post it on YouTube, accompanied by a collage of images. And for anyone who might wish to download the song, it is available on Bandcamp if you search bandcamp.com for Tom Ward 2. I hope you enjoy the song, Lest We Forget.
True, we didn't know you, your face, your name. Yet there's so much we owe you, that's why we came. Years fade, many memories, yet none shall wane. Of you and your comrades, those memories remain. And every year on Remembrance Day, we reflect on what is past. We bow our heads in prayer and lay your wreath on the cenotaph. God bless you, unknown soldier, let us honor timeless dead. You gave your life for our freedom, lest we forget. Gave all for your country, your fellow man, fighting for our liberty in some foreign land. So we in silent reflection give prayerful cry that no more unknown soldiers will have to die. And every year on Remembrance Day, we reflect on what is past. We bow our heads in prayer and lay your wreath on the cenotaph. God bless you, unknown soldier, let us honor timeless dead. You gave your life for our freedom, lest we forget. Every year on Remembrance Day, we reflect on what is past. We bow our heads in prayer and lay your wreath on the cenotaph. God bless you, unknown soldier, let us honor timeless dead. You gave your life for freedom, lest we forget. Gave your life for freedom, lest we forget.
And now, up next on our show, we have a very special segment for this Remembrance Day.
Thank you, Jeremy. Remembrance Day was always a wonderful time for us. I can remember going down to the Legion with my family after going to the cenotaph and being there for the service and being there to show our gratitude for the soldiers just made me feel so honorable inside. We must always remember their sacrifice for our freedoms. Sacrifice comes with a cost, and they put their lives on the line for us. So bless all the soldiers. They're gone, but never forgotten. I love my grandparents that did so many wonderful triumphs too in their battles with the war. So thank you.
Thank you. And lest we forget.
I'm all on my bell for the fallen comrades I remember so well. It's freedom and democracy who are dividing the bloodshed battles we slide. Remembering poppies blowing in the wind at the sound of the trumpet 11. Silent memories cry out our Flanders fears as we rejoice on undriven tears. Soldiers will march on the mountain top, desperately not to stop. Love is our refuge and our conscience we breathe when we have the trenches sleeve. The promise of a future without a great fight would be heaven's redemption, and that would be alright. Are the skies clear from damnation? Do we learn from the battles of the nation? Is there victory in the vets' cry, never forgetting their love inside? I'm calling out to live and not to die. Gunshots ring out through oil of the bloody spout, wanting freedom at a costly drought. Sacrifice, we're sent and living at the sound of the trumpet 11. Silent memories cry out our Flanders fears as we rejoice on our driven tears. As we rejoice on our driven tears, soldiers will march on the mountain top, desperately not to stop, desperately not to stop. Love is our refuge, in our conscience we breathe when we have the trenches leave. The promise of a future without a great fight would be heaven's redemption, and that would be alright. Are the skies clear from damnation? Do we learn from the battles of the nation? Is there victory in the vets' cry, never forgetting their love inside? Calling out to live and not to die. Gunshots ring out through oil of the bloody spout, wanting freedom at a costly drought. Do we learn from the battles of the nation? Is there victory in the vets' cry, never forgetting their love inside? Calling out to live and not to die. Gunshots ring out through oil of the bloody spout, wanting freedom at a costly drought. Do we learn from the battles of the nation? Is there victory in the vets' cry?
That is Remembering Poppies, written by Canadian songwriter J.R. Davis.
Well, that is our very special Other Side Remembrance Week program. I'm Jeremy Davis. On behalf of Joshua and everyone at the Other Side, lest we forget, and let's end the show with the last post. For when you hear the trumpet on November the 11th at 11 o'clock, stop and take 2 minutes of silence wherever you are, in honor of all those who have served and sacrificed so much on the front lines. May God bless you. Thank you for your service, and we will see you next week.
The Other Side Radio Show is a production of the Other Side Media Group in association with 91X. You can connect on Facebook at the Other Side Media Group, Instagram at Jeremy Tyler Davis, or on YouTube at Jeremy T. Davis, Belleville, Ontario, for on-demand episodes and more. Tune in next week for another episode of the Other Side Radio Show.